Hey, Lewis Howard Live people. I am so excited to be back. You don't have any idea how excited I'm able to have the energy again to bring you some insights. And before I jump into that, just to let you know, we'll be back into Mob Studio starting tomorrow. And we'll be producing some new shows. We're going to change up the format a little bit, but I will continue to do these little daily upgrades because they updates because they seem to be popular. So today I want to talk about templates and what is your template. And when you say template to somebody, it can mean different things, right? Depending on what's your profession, right? What's your software template? That means what template am I using to create a program? If you work in carpentry or steel making, that you use a template to create a mold of something or a shape or something, right? But then there's another level of template, and it is the template of your DNA, right? If you really are on that kind of level, there is this thing called your template of your DNA. And what it does is kind of technical, so I don't know if I want to read all of it. But it says the template strand is the term refers to the strand used by DNA, and basically it is your reticular activator, right? It's a part of your neural pathway. It is part of your subconscious default thinking. Okay, will that help? Right. And I'm going to apologize in advance. I've got some other folks that are alerting me to some things, so you'll kind of hear that going on. So that's what it really means. So when I think about your template, you have to look at it and say, okay, first of all, let me get the right perspective. And for the purpose of this conversation, it really is, what is your neural pathway? If you develop certain habits, you have a certain neural pathway. Have you ever been around a smoker, a habitual smoker, and they have smoked a long time, and every 15 minutes they have to stop, I don't care what's going on, and have a smoke? I used to have an office in the Bellevue area, and there was a gentleman, you could clock him every 30 minutes. He came down and smoked. Every 30 minutes, he needed to take a smoke break. And it's because he had programmed himself. That's what he did. And he was like clockwork, right? Some people at 5 o'clock, they have to have a drink. That's their deal, right? Clockwork, right? And that's not good or bad. That's not the purpose of the conversation to, criticize, judge, analyze that. But what I'm saying is that we all have a template that we work by. The purpose of this program is to give you ingredients that will inspire you to go to that next level. So one of the things that you have to understand, that if your template is outdated, then your goals or activities or relationships are also going to be outdated. And here's was a great share that I got, from someone that I really listen to on a daily basis. And one of the things that it was shared was, if you're used to relationships ending badly, because they've repeatedly done that for you, whether it's business relationship, personal relationships, maybe been through a divorce, maybe been through several divorces, and they all end the same way. Well, you develop a neural pathway that says, hey, I'm about to start a new relationship, but I already know how it's going to end because I already know how the last three end. And so what you will do, some people, I'm not saying you particularly, but some people will basically what we call self-sabotage. I'm going to get you before you get me. I'm going to end the relationship before it ends. You ever have somebody who say, I knew that was going to happen, right? They'll say something bad happens, right? Got into an accident. Oh, I knew that was going to happen. Or a person lost their job. I knew that was going to happen. And the reason why they can say that, because in their neural pathway, that's what they expect, right? I used to have people tell me, hey, I ain't never going to be on the cover of a magazine. I'm never going to do, that. And I'm glad I didn't listen to that, because I almost thought, well, maybe I'm not either. Well, that's not true, because I've been on the cover of several business, real estate magazines. So it was all about what your neural pathway is. So here's the deal. Don't compare how you think to somebody else's think. because you don't know what their history is. Where did they come from? Who influenced them? Who helped them develop early habits? One of the funny thing that I grew up at a time where people did spank their kids, and I know in this culture people don't. They give them timeouts. But when I was a kid, we would start crying about something, and what your parents would say is, if you don't stop crying, what the rest of it is, I'm going to give you something to cry for. Now, that was like built into your brain. So every time you thought about getting upset, you thought about, well, I better not get too upset here because it may actually end up worse than what I'm thinking. Okay. So let's talk about business for a minute. Let's talk about, setting your own life goal, whether that's a relationship goal, business goal, you're starting a new business, you want to grow a business. You've got to make sure that you upgrade your template. You've got to make sure that you challenge yourself as to, why am I thinking this way? Why am I thinking that I'm going to fail? Why am I thinking even that I'm going to succeed? Because that's the opposite. There's some people arrogant enough just to say, I'm going to succeed because I was born in the lucky sperm club and I'm of a certain race and I'm of a certain thing, right? And I grew up around some of those people. And then when they fell on their face, they had to go on Prozac. They had to seek counseling. They flipped out on their marriages because they were just so used to programming themselves for success and succeeding that failure was just not an option for them. So I'm not saying either one is right, but what I'm saying is that when you think about your neural pathway, I've been engaging in some sophisticated brain training, right? Kind of things that my doctor used to be a sports doctor. And so he does a lot of advanced, kind of medical regeneration type stuff. And one of it is brain training. And part of that is to kind of help me reset my neural pathways. Some of the megahertz, some of my deltas and things that, really kind of technical stuff. But what it does is it has helped me retain and erase some memories. So when I get up to a certain point, there used to be a song, I get to a certain point in a relationship, those old memories, right? There's so many songs about memories, right? There's so many people that live in the past. There's so many people that like classic cars because they're old and they're from the past and they remind them when they were a kid, they remind them when they were youth. And all that's good. But if you don't upgrade your DNA and leave room for the new, you'll get stuck in the old. Okay. And so your template is your way of thinking, right? Even if you're using a certain mold and it's not what you want to build as a template, what do I have to do? I got to change the template. I don't keep building it because it's the only thing I got. I need a different mold. If I need a mold to make a car and I'm coming out with a truck, then guess what I got to have? I got to have a different template. Most people don't think that way. They think I got what I got, when I finished college or when I turned 21 or when I had kids or when I got my first job. That's all I need to know. And everything else has just been kind of a rinse and repeat. Let's do it over again. And nobody really is changing, right? Some of you are loaded with 20 years worth of information and knowledge, and you haven't done a thing with it. You know why? Because you won't upgrade your template. You won't take a risk. You won't step out there. You won't put it at work. You won't try something new. So it really is to really understand and go study templates. Think about them and then think about why you do certain things automatically. There's some people that they want to get up and beat the sun. I'm not one of those people. I don't need to race the sun every day. I just don't, right? But that's some people, and that's because they came out of a family where their family were agrarian. Their family were like farmers. So they were up at 4:00 in the morning. I am no farmer. I don't need to be up at 4:00 in the morning. Okay, that's not my template. But for some people, it is their template. Some people go to bed at 2:00, 3:00 in the morning, and then they're up at 5 or 6. Okay, I couldn't do that. I need time to rest. So again, people's habits come out of your template. How you treat relationship has nothing to do with that other person. Stop blaming the other person. Okay. All women are the same. Stop saying that. All men are the same. Because first of all, you don't know all women and you don't know all men. And I don't want to know you if you know all men or all women, because there's going to be really something wrong with you. Okay. It's based on your experience of the people you know, the people you have interacted with. And so you have formed an opinion about all people based on the few bad apples that you have. You need to upgrade your template. So I want to challenge you to kind of think about that. I'm going to circle back to this kind of in a different way, talking about foundations, because that's going to be another topic we want to really hit in. I'll start that one probably tomorrow. But I really want to challenge you about this template, this neural pathway. What are you using as a mold? Are you using the mold that your mom gave you, your dad gave you, your grandpa gave you, and now you're trying to build their house and it's not working? I remember going back and seeing my grandmother's house. And when I was there, I thought it was a big house. I did. I thought it was a big house. I go back. This house is 1,200 square feet, right? Place I live in is like twice, 2 or 3 times that big, right? But I thought it was a big house. I realized, and I went back, man, this was a small house. I wouldn't want to build this house. Yeah, it's not functional for me today, right? Some of my friends that love classic cars, okay, they go build these classic cars, but the cars they're not as cool as a car that you take now. The cars I love is if you take a car, an old school car, and you make a resto mod of it, which means that everything under that car is new. Got new brakes, it got new training, it's got new engine, it's got everything. But if you take a straight 1967 Chevelle with a big block engine and you don't do any upgrades and change to that thing is going to be all over the road. It's going to be squirrely. And while it's going to be cool for you to say you have a 67 Chevelle with a big block engine, let me just tell you what that thing is going to drive like a truck versus a brand new Corvette that just come out the factory. That thing's dialed in. It'll hug a corner at 120 miles an hour. I'm not suggesting you try that if you own one, but it will, right? That car's upgraded. The 67 Chevelle is not upgraded, okay? It's not upgraded. It's still got the same components that it came out in the factory in 1967, right? So I hope you get what I'm saying is to think about your goals. November is goal setting time. This is a time where a lot of people sit down and they plan their goals. What am I going to do in the next year? So think about where you need to make personal change. We are always trying to change other people. If they worked harder, if they showed up early, if they did, sometimes it's not them, it's you, because your template is outdated, especially people that like me, where you've reached a certain age in life and you're dealing with people that are maybe half your age, millennials and younger. They work differently. So if you're going to deal with that, you want some energy in your company and your team, you got to upgrade your template as to how those folks work, because they work a little bit different. They don't work the same way. And it's not because they're lazy. It's not because they don't know what it's like to walk 5 miles in the snow. It's not because of any of that. They got a different template. You need to upgrade your template so you can handle, right, those groups. We see this in churches where, the only people left there are people that are 70 years old. There's no young people there because ain't nothing fresh going on in that particular church, right? So same thing in businesses, right? There are businesses that outdate themselves because they don't hire new, fresh, young talent. So wherever it is, you got to upgrade that thing. All right. This is Lewis Howard. My favorite saying is, I love to inspire and give you ingredients and recipes for the soul to help you make a better meal for life. We'll see you again on another edition.